Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, as I always tell you, man, we are about to have some fun. But more than anything today, man, you about to get some science dropped on you, some serious knowledge. The gentleman that you see sitting here next to me today, not only is he a man among men, not only is he a gentleman, but he is a scholar and my mentor, brother, man, that I can say gratefully, man, I'm happy to know, man, and he's in my wheelhouse. As I say, I've got these people who are my board of directors, and he's my personal board of directors. Ladies and gentlemen, here at the YouTube Near Me Not to Hear Me show, I'm proud to introduce my main man, Terence Johnson. What's up, brother? How you feeling, man?
Nice introduction, brother. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I always remember at times in New York and Chicago, you telling me I'm one of your board of directors, man.
That's
So
right.
I'm glad, man. And that goes back some years, man. So
Yes, sir.
I'm glad that I'm still on that board,
Oh
man.
yeah, man. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's you, Larry Holiday, Daryl Cobb, you know, Michael Bradley, and
Yeah,
my man from LA. Oh
yeah.
man, yo, dude. I mean that's you all. So, folks on the show, you listening in, man. I have to tell you, if this is something that you haven't done in your life, you need to do it. You need to find 5 people in your life who are excelling at a pace that is greater than yours, but they are giving enough to take that time to spend with you. Create your own personal board of directors. I can tell you when you guys, man, talked to me a couple of years ago, not even a couple of years ago, brother. I know it's 2020. We're talking about 2000, 2008, 2009.
2008, New York City.
Yeah, man. So sitting down, trying to figure out, man, okay, well, how do I carve in this life of education, man? How do I just carve in? And I took it a step deeper with me and you, man, dude. Just being a man, married, and trying to be a black man in this country, man. I was like, yo, I gotta find some people outside of family and and all that stuff who are handling it and throwing down. And dude, our conversations have always been epic. Like there are catchphrases that that when I hear even people say, I was like, oh, that's TJ.
Yeah,
Like, hey man, it's time to make that cheddar.
yeah.
How's your cheddar looking? You know, it's stuff like that, man. I got coined at my during grad school and working with Kip. I got coined the phrase of calling me blah blah. And at first I was like, I don't know
Uh-huh.
if I really want to be blah blah. But you made me understand, hey man, everybody got to have a blah blah.
Amen.
Everybody got to have somebody who's a spokesperson, somebody to get out in front and make some things happen. And I embraced it just in that conversation with you, man.
Yeah,
We,
well,
we just made that happen.
that's a gift that I saw in you from the very beginning, man. Man, you have your way with people, man. And you have a way of connecting and speaking and telling a story that is second to none, Daniel. So I picked up on that quick, man. It was a good nickname someone gave you.
Oh, bro, it's perfect. I need to put it on the license plate right now, man. That's what I need to do.
Yeah,
Serious business, serious business. You know, but but I can go on and on and on about just our conversations, and we call them skull sessions.
that's
Like
right.
that was our text message. Like,
Right.
hey, I need a skull session, man. We need to rap,
Yeah.
and we'd sit down and we talk about just things that are happening professionally, personally, and how to navigate that. And then momentous enough, man, is to have, like I said, when I got all you guys together in one place, I can clearly tell you we were in Chicago at a nice little restaurant over in Hyde Park. I got out you guys together, man. One of my favorite places to go to.
Yeah.
And I was at a crossroads. I had not finished my master's. I was in an administrative position. I was really trying to forge my way forward and see what was going to happen. And the one thing that you all had said at the table that made a huge difference in my life, it's like, listen, Dan, no one can take away the fact that you are able to sit down and articulate and plan and do all the things that others can do. The only knock against you is you don't have your papers. And that right there was like, okay, I don't have my papers. Like, no, it's like you all even made it a point. Said, listen, we are sitting here today with you because we love and care about you. But to be honest, if you were any other person, you couldn't sit at this table because you don't have your papers. And I was like, wow. And what y'all were talking about was, hey, Dan, you're in an administrative position, man, but where's your master's, man? Where's that certification that locks you in? Where are your papers?
Yeah, yeah. So let me. I remember that conversation well, and to be clear, like as a black man, like we got to come locked and loaded, and we don't have the privilege that white people have not to have our papers locked. So that was the genesis of that conversation, man. It was like, hey, man, like, brother, if they want to shut you out, they'll use paperwork, right? That's not how they do their peers, though, right? But for us,
No.
that will always be the story, man. Like, hey, man, you ain't got your papers right. That was my big push for you at that juncture, man. Was, hey, don't give them an excuse, man. Don't give them an excuse because you have all the talent on the planet, man. You're giving them an excuse though to shut the door,
Yeah.
in the door.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, and you guys were 100% right, man. That lit a fire up under me. I think within less than, 6 months, I had my August 2011, I had my master's, I had my certification, and another few months after that, I was like, "Hey, I got to make this thing happen, man."
right. That's right.
And you were right. I mean, it was just it wasn't anything to take a knock against you. And so I think about now as we look at our young people today, and you and I both, because we've been so entrenched into education and how to serve young people, we are seeing something that is a completely different situation for them, particularly students of color.
Yeah,
They not only have to have their papers, but they got to go 10 steps beyond that.
yeah,
And what I'm starting to see from my side of the fence and looking from here, looking down, those opportunities are getting cut short.
yeah.
This pandemic, this social pandemic, the things that you put on social media, those kinds of things are killers for our kids. And the sign of fun, hey, let's do this. They're cutting themselves short, man. You are in the Bay Area, Northern Cal area, man.
Indeed.
What are you seeing there that has kind of been the telltale signs of things that are to come, or that you've just seen before and say, okay, we got to straighten this out?
Well, yeah, that's a great question, Daniel. And I think that what we see here is probably, across the country, and that is our people are disproportionately impacted by this pandemic. Whether it's on the health side and or the job side, we are disproportionately impacted. You talk about essential workers, you talk about black and brown people out there hustling, right? You talk about people who are exposed and going into emergency rooms and losing lives. It is disproportionate on our side with brown and black people, man. So, um, to tell you the truth, Daniel, I think that it is on. We're just seeing the tip of the iceberg as well. I think it will continue disproportionately impact our people. We don't have the, in our households, man, with black and brown people, you will often see multi-generational families in the same home. And so, you see, folks, and, I'm a superintendent, man, CEO of my organization. And you see this big push for us to be back in school, and we certainly need to be back in school. But the impact of that, the impact of kids going to school, possibly being infected by COVID, and then taking it home to grandparents, that sort of general, and this is brown and black families. And
Yep.
it's sad, but it's real. And I pay, I feel like I feel, Daniel, to tell you the truth, man, I feel like I'm squeezed from every angle, man, because I feel like I need to always represent and be the mouthpiece for our children, and that is marginalized black and brown children. Um, and then you get all this pressure to be back in school, and you're like, man, somebody got to speak up for these families, man. You know, and our families are smart, but it's my job to give them all the information and all the information that I know because it's always changing. But they need to be able to make the right decisions for their family, man. So anyway, that's a long answer, Daniel, but I think just like across the country, man, like brown and black people are out of jobs and we're hurting, man. We're hurting.
Yeah.
So let's see all the social unrest, man. You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, my hometown of Chicago, man, I am still deeply connected, even though I live out here in Arizona, man. And what I'm struggling with is that the things that are going on are the same things that were going on when I was a youth.
Yeah,
It's the same struggle. It's the same kind of thing that's going on. And the only thing that I can tell you that I have noted that has been different is I think that with the situation that happened in Minnesota with George Floyd is that it became a worldwide impact so fast, so quick.
yeah,
And now you're starting to see not only black and brown folks and people of color talking about it, but you're seeing white folks talking about it.
right. That's right.
I have been in some conversations with people who are university presidents and folks who were deans and who were high school principals and superintendents and in group discussions about just in the direction we're going and how then do we address situations that have been sort of swept up, not sort of, have been swept up under the rug, but now it's in your face now.
Yeah,
And what I've noticed is that folks like you and I who've been around for a little bit are starting to take a quicker step back to say, okay, as a person of color, I don't have to have this conversation because you need to have this conversation. Speaking with to our white brothers and sisters who are trying to say, hey, we're in an outrage. We got to figure this out. Like, okay, well, we've been talking about this for a minute. And what I mean by a minute, I'm talking about possibly 400 years we've been talking
400
about this.
years, 400 years, brother. We've been talking about this.
So, TJ, I get to a standpoint now of when I'm asked to give, an opinion about certain things, I first have to say, okay, before we can make any kind of moves, we got to look at all the folks who are sitting here around the table who are about to make those decisions and check your own heart.
Yeah,
What are your intentions?
yeah,
You know, you look at it as a man who is above that organization and having to run it. You got to look not only at what's going to serve the administrators and teachers and the folks of the business, but those parents and those students. You're right. You're squeezed in every direction, and
huge.
and the one thing that I could kind of see that places that have not gotten it together have simply here have ran these kids back into school
Yeah,
under pressure, and then no sooner than a day or two they're having to shut it back down and pull them back out. We're about to approach, as of tomorrow, this is Sunday evening that we're talking, We're about to approach, as of tomorrow, a teacher walkout in one of the largest charter networks here in the state,
Wow.
and that's a lot of folks, man. I mean, I'm talking about they are their own district into themselves, like a city district, like Mesa or Chandler, yeah, and they're walking out.
Yeah.
So I am on the one hand, I understand where the teachers are coming from. I understand where parents are coming from. But another part of this is that I don't think some of us are looking at, if our alternative is that we're going to have our kids at home. Then what about online services? What about those folks that everybody considers and thinks, hey, if you're at home, everybody's got internet, everybody's got cable.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. And we're a charter network. Obviously, they all have Chromebooks. If they don't have internet, they have hotspots. But you still run into issues, man. And out here, we're burning up, man. We got fires going on out here, man. So last week class was interrupted with rolling blackouts, man. So you know, kids didn't have any power up in their house, man. But yeah, man, it's the challenges of distant learning, man, are tough. Um, Here's the thing, Dan, that I will say about distant learning, man. Like, know, um, after doing it for 4 months last year in the spring, or 3 months last 3 months, 3.5 months in the spring, we thought, okay, well, let's try to make it a little bit more rigorous and do synchronous learning. So we put some more like in-person learning together online. The first week, man, I had parents beat down my door saying it's too much. Kids can't sit behind that screen that long. And I get it, man. I get it. I get it. They can't sit behind the screen. You can't ask, children to sit behind that screen for 5 hours a day, man. It's too much. But anyway, that's what we're asking them to do, man. And so it's tough, Dan. And you know what? We got to figure it out. We have to get creative, and there has to be a balance. And we haven't hit that sweet. I'm talking our organization. We haven't hit our sweet spot yet, and we're going to continue to adjust and try to get it right. But it's a challenge, man. It's a challenge.
I believe it, man. But you know what, brother? I'm glad they got you
Ah,
at the helm, man. Because if they had some other character joke up in there, I'd be like, man, please, y'all about to mess up. You have set that mold, man. I appreciate the heart that you have.
I appreciate it.
I mean, and that right there, it speaks volumes because you and I both know we've been along in this long enough. There's some folks who are all about bottom line,
Yeah,
and they don't take into consideration the heart and what it really means when we're talking about education of young people. I'm gonna flip the script for you a little bit, my man. So take me back to your college days.
yes.
Tell me something. As you were, what was your college story? Everybody has a college story. Everybody has a situation that in college there is something that was an epiphany. And I ask you to say this in this story because right now we got young people who are experiencing college in their living rooms and not on their campus.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're thirsting for what to do or what's going on. But share with me, just something that was impactful for you in
Yeah,
college.
yeah. So, Daniel, I don't know if you knew this, but my father was in the Air Force, man, um, and what was important to him for every one of his children. I'm the fourth of five children. Is that we all went to college and got a college degree, and I was his second son. um, and I was fortunate enough to um, have an athletic scholarship. I played football at Colorado State University, and and I had a pretty successful um, college experience, and then I lettered off 4 years, and it was very memorable for me. But my the thing that comes to mind for me was my father was raised in West Philly, man, and
Mm.
so my roots are Philadelphia, man, West Philadelphia specifically. And my father busted his behind, man. He went through all the Jim Crow and all everything, man. Like he busted his behind to put us kids in a situation to be better, man. And one of the things that I could never do, Dan, was lean on my privilege of being a college athlete, man, and not show up to class and do all the knucklehead things that a lot of us do, man, when we balling, man, and with privileges. The fear of letting this man down motivated me every day. So I'm one to say, and I used to tell my kids this, like, I did my thing just like everybody else on campus.
Right, right, right. Hey.
I was out there doing my thing, loving life and all that. But one thing that I told myself, Daniel, was two things, man. Don't you ever miss class
Hmm.
behind hanging out all day and night. I don't care how late you hang up, you're going to be up in class the next day. And don't ever, ever skip not turning your work in.
Hmm.
You know what? And so I live by those two things, man. Like, I met my deadlines, man. I turned in my assignments, some were good, some weren't so good, but, I was consistent though, man. I was always consistent with good feedback, and I showed up every day. Just like I showed up every day for practice, for football practice.
Right.
Showed up to that classroom every single day, man, for the fear of letting my daddy down, man.
Hmm.
So that was my experience, man. And you know what? Like you put one foot in, it sounds so cliche-ish, man, but you wake up, you put one foot in front of the other, man. You put one foot in, days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, months turn into years. And the next thing you know, man, you walking across that stage, man. Hey,
Ooh.
with a degree, bruh,
Hey.
but it was just consistency, man. And so that was my story, man. And I saw a lot of brothers, man, that I played ball with come and go, man, because they didn't have that consistency, the daily, weekly, monthly, yearly grind, man, um, that it takes to be successful in life, man. So that was my story,
Hey
man.
man, I love it, man. The simplicity of it is, and I've asked these questions of guests that have come on the show because I really want to be able to drop some knowledge into our young people who are watching, or parents or adults who are in care of some young folks, into their toolbox of just some. This is not complicated. These are simple. The ideal that I love that you said it, that just to be consistent, and the ethic of it doesn't matter what you did, kicking it and hanging out. Don't miss a class and don't miss an assignment.
Try.
I mean, hey, after that, there's nothing really else to say.
Man, that's it. That was it right there. That was the formula, man. Like show up every day and turn your stuff in on time. That's it. And then you can have all the fun you want to have, brother.
Hey
Okay?
man,
Have a good time.
work hard, play hard, but the work got to come first.
And and you know what? That's your reward.
That's
Okay?
it. That's
That's
it.
your reward is, hey,
And
I paid you done, man. Shoot. I'm gonna get out of the streets, man.
I kind of remember this is our conversation when we were in New York, man. We got a chance to go to a little cafe, man. I'll never forget this, man. We were sitting there really chopping it up. We were sitting down. It was just me and you, and we were breaking down some things. And you just leaned over, looked at me, and said, "Davis, I know they're gonna come with you with a lot of work, but dude, if you get that work done, hey man, we can play. We can have some fun in New York. We can play. But you, Davis, he's like, you literally leaned in like, Davis, get that work done.
Handle your business, man.
Handle your business.
Here's the thing. and here's the thing, Dan. I was running the program, right? So I knew all the work y'all had to do. And you in the middle of Manhattan, with the bright lights that are on 24/7. It's like, hey man, like you can enjoy these bright lights. Handle your business. Handle
Man,
your business.
man, let me tell you, that was an amazing experience for me, just because I felt like I got the grounding and not only the tools but the foundation for how I have led and been in organizations since then. Like I got understood how to teach, and I can credit places that have made me a much better teacher. But being there in KSLP and that time with the group that we had, and you and
God.
Dick Bess and
Dang.
Stradane and just the Cobb and the
Bring it back.
crew, man, and those NYU professors, man. I was just like, and then the guests that you brought in, and the
Yeah.
books that we got a chance to read. I was just like, okay, this is like if somebody said, if you really want to do educational leadership, this is what it's like, but it's urgent. There's none of this. Hey, take your time, think about it. No, everything is urgent because the need is urgent.
Yeah.
And brother, I'm telling you, man, you're right because y'all work. Hey, I could show you up on my bookshelf. I still have all my binders and
I know
books,
you
man,
do. I
and
know you
and
do.
and still reference them. I was just referencing Pedro Noguera's book,
Yeah.
the Trouble with Black Boys, in a conversation with my family. I was
Yeah.
like, y'all need to understand what's going on. So I tell you the value of just a young person hearing you simply say in college, man, be consistent.
That's it, man. That's all it is, man. Like, and you know what, Dan? So you talk about that consistency, man, but there has to be someone, man, like yourself, and then someone, man, that you can't let down. Whether whether it's your mama, whether it's my case was, and I had a mama too, but it was my father, man. I couldn't look that man in the eye and say, hey, man, I was out having a good time and missed handing in assignments and all that. After the struggle this brother's been through, come
Yeah.
on, man. So like all this stuff is greater than you, man. It's all greater than us. And so think about the people who helped you get there, and then be consistent, man. Be consistent, and that was my secret sauce, man. And to tell you the truth, Daniel, that has carried me through, I think, my entire life, man. It's just like consistent, man. Showing up every day, man. I'm that cat that shows up every day, man. I'm on time. I don't, people depend on me. I'm there every day, man. I don't call out. I don't get sick. I don't take off like time just to like time. I show up. If I say I'm gonna do something, I do it. And so I try to stay consistent.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. And I'm hoping young folks can understand that and put that together with a lot of the things that we've said on this program. But more than anything, I love what you said because it's not complex.
Yeah.
It's not as my boys and my boy in DC say. It ain't rocket science, man.
Yeah.
It's just simple, man.
And
Keep it keep it keep it
young
simple.
son. Yeah.
So TJ, I also know this, man. You're also a man who's constantly on the grind, on your hustle,
Indeed.
and and you instilled that into me also, man, because you were like, you just can't be a I forget how you said it, just like not a one trick pony, but yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. You just
Yeah.
can't you gotta have your faucets and rivers running in a lot of different directions and doing a lot and always stay on your hustle.
Yeah.
Where did that come from for you, man?
My dad, man. My dad. So for your listeners, man, to be specific, Daniel's talking about like streams of income. Okay. Streams of income. So I'm just gonna name it for y'all, okay?
Yes, sir.
And here's the thing. Um, my father was a career military man, And when he got off work, my father was a librarian at night. So he would get out of his Air Force gear, and he would throw on a suit, man, and he would go to the library like from 6 to 9 every night as a librarian.
Mm.
Uh, and then, man, on the weekends, man, he would like hustle and fix cars, man. Like this cat was brilliant, man. Oh, and on top of that, like he would buy a property and rent, chop it up and rent to his GIs that were part of his. He was pretty high up in rank, and so he would rent to the new airmen coming in,
Mm.
what rent out apartments, man. And so, he was always doing something, man, to where he was hustling, man, to get cheddar, right? That's what I talk about. Like, hey, man, you got to get on your grind, man, to get that money because that money's out there to get, right?
Hmm.
So that was basically the basis, man. I watched my father just hustle, man, and so as you would say, man, be on your grind, man. And so for me, I've had the good fortune of having a really good education and a pretty good career. And people have just called upon me to do lots of stuff. And so I'm always open to projects and things that are happening, man. And what it's done is it's allowed my wife and I to put our kids through school and be able to do some things without hurting our pocket too much, man.
Hey,
It's just, yeah. So anyway, that's where that comes from, Dan. Is just being open to not coming home and being content with one thing. There's lots of things that are happening, and here's the thing that I will say about it, Dan. And I don't want to overspeak on this, but the white man has done that their entire life, man. Like they
man,
have.
brother, say it, man. Say it.
No,
Say it.
I'm just gonna speak on it, man. They're gonna have 5 different streams of income coming in, man. They are, okay? They're gonna have at least three. Doc. They're gonna have at least three, all right? And many times five, man. And so, we've been satisfied us as black men with one job, man. And I'm like, wait a minute, there's money to be made. There's money to be made. So get on out there and hustle. And so and many times, man, what it requires, seriously, man, like it might require me to wake up early on a Saturday morning. I get up early anyway, and
Hmm.
put a nice little presentation together, on a Saturday morning before I get out there and get on my grind at 10 o'clock in the morning. So if I'm up at 6, I work 4 hours putting something together that's real nice, man, and um, and if I'm doing that once a month, twice a month, man, it's making money. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
So anyway,
you,
man,
you. What's the name of the show? You too near me not to hear me.
yeah,
Oh
man.
man.
Or it might recall me call me jumping on the phone at since I'm on the West Coast now at 5 o'clock in the morning here and doing some coaching. You know,
Hmm.
and with someone who might be on the East Coast at 8 o'clock in the morning. So little things like that. Um, but it all adds up, man. It all adds up at the end.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, man, I love that because at the time when you and I were talking, man, I had control of some properties that I was renting out. I had a little side business where I was helping people to buy cars and find cars and stuff like that.
Okay.
I always had a little something on the side going on besides being
Right.
that person in the school. And you helped me to, because I felt like I was like, dude, I was like, TJ, I'm spreading myself thin. He's like, nah, put things in perspective, give it the time it's supposed to be given, but keep your multiple streams because as one thing comes out, you never know if another opportunity pops. And that mentality has been something that I've passed on to others, particularly young people.
Yeah.
So, I can remember being the cat that was in college with the hot plate, making steak and cheese, $5 a sandwich.
There
You
you
know what I'm
go.
saying? And at 2, 3
Oh,
o'clock in the morning,
you're
hey man, I'm
hey,
asleep. Hey man, make that steak and cheese for me. I said, all right, bro, I got you on that.
right.
Here you go. And I remember just something was always on. I had brothers who I knew was cutting hair. Everybody had some kind of grind and hustle, and it's like that now. We got a cigar group, as you know. It's called Tap That Ash,
Yeah, yeah,
and you know we're trademarked website, got products out here. We're throwing events. And even though COVID has kicked in and it slowed some things that down in person, we already have now projected forward into the events that are coming up for the upcoming year when we come about this, and we know it's going to explode because everybody wants to get up out of this. They want to get up out
yeah,
their house.
yeah.
They want to get out of as much as you love your spouses and people around you in your home. Yeah, man, you time to see some other people
Right,
and stretch out. So
right.
I'm seeing that as an opportunity, man. Just on to stay on my grind, and then this comes up is because I I think that many people don't get a chance to hear really great conversations that pass along really great nuggets of information. Like we got so much fluff and mess and garbage out there. Sometimes you just need to hear somebody just talk to you real.
Yeah.
And this is and like you said, put one foot in front of the other.
And put in front of the other, brother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, man. So, TJ, I tell you, man, I'm curious to know this. You've lived in many different cities.
Yeah.
Tell me where's your favorite place, man. Where is your bar none? This has always been my favorite place, man. What do you say is like almost like if I was any place else, this is where I'd be.
Well, you know, um, and for me, and I hope this makes it to Houston, man. Uh, Houston, man, like that was my last city. And the Bay, I love it, man. Houston to me, man, is on fire, man. It's too hot, it's too humid. But man, that place is it's just a great city, man. So many ways. The culture, the food, the people. It's in the South. It's right next to New Orleans. You don't have New Orleans. You got a big, robust city, lots of jobs, and it's probably one of the diverse places in the country. It is one of the most diverse cities in the country, and it's blue. People don't understand that it's a blue city
Hmm.
in a red state.
Hmm.
But Houston will always be near and dear to my heart, man, just because there is so much to do there, man. So much, and you know what? Like, I can't say anything like I love it out here where I'm at. It's expensive. Um,
I love the Bay, man. I used to my first teaching job was up in Danville at the
okay,
Athenian School.
okay, I
Yeah,
love it
man.
up here too, man, and I love the climate up here. Um, the only drawback is it's really expensive, um, and but I love it up here. Houston, you don't have that. Like the climate's terrible, but you can live off of Houston, man, like it's nobody's business.
Yeah.
So Houston has definitely been one of my favorite places. I won't deny that. I've lived in Denver. I've lived, on the East Coast. I lived in Memphis. I like Memphis a lot too. Too small, but I love the flavor of Memphis. Um, yeah, man, Houston would definitely be my favorite place.
That's what's
Uh,
up, man. That's
yeah,
what's up. That's what's up.
yeah,
So TJ, I'll ask this last to you, and this is something that I want to have our listeners understand, and you can pick it wherever you want to go. Tell me three things that you have taken on as advice that's been for you, or something that you would say, you know what, I didn't take this on for myself, but this is something that I would definitely pass this along because I see the value in it. I know one. Our simple thing is we can always say, man, be consistent. I love it. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
show up and do your job.
yeah. So I think one thing is, Dan, that I've learned it a little better over time. But you have to be open to feedback, man. Like,
Mm.
and you know what? Like sometimes when it is adjusting feedback or it's feedback that you don't want to hear, it stings, man. It stings. There's no doubt about it. Um, and so that my advice would be really to learn how to take both affirming and adjusting feedback, and opposed to responding to the feedback, which we all want to do like in the moment to kind of unpack our own thinking. Um, Sit back and process it, man. Um, and if we're able to sit back and process, internalize, um, I think we're able to make good moves off of feedback. So that's one, Daniel. And it's not easy, man.
You shared that with me many a time, man. You know,
Yeah, yeah. It's a hard thing to really live. So you can give that advice, but to model it and live it is so crucial, man. And so that's one thing that I would say. And then two, Danny, you said it, like be consistent, man. It's easy. The easy thing to do is to go with the flow, a popular decision. But man, you got at the end of the day, man, we all have to look in the mirror, man, and what is your core? And who are you? And if you can walk in the evening and wake up in the morning and look yourself in the mirror and be okay with it, living, man. And that's another thing that I try to do: be consistent and stay true to who I am. And then finally, man, like at the end of the day, man, like all this is noise, man. All of it, like our jobs and everything is noise, man. And it's what we do. So I don't want to minimize that, but the reality of it is when all the dust clears, man, all we have is our family, man. You know, and so, you know, make time and be true to your family. That's it.
and you've helped me along with that too, man. Because you be the first one to say, get out that office,
Yeah,
go home,
yeah,
and
yeah,
be at home and be present at home.
and be present.
It's hard because I think sometimes it's all consuming, and then the folks that we love the most love us, and they know that our heart is in this, but yet sometimes they don't tell us, hey, I need you too.
That's right.
You know, no, and I feel you on that, man. That is strong and powerful, my brother, man. Dude, I wish we were in person, man, because I tell you, the one or two things: we're gonna be on the golf course,
Okay,
or we're
that's
gonna
right.
be sitting back and having a cigar.
Hey, we're gonna be doing both, okay? We're gonna be doing
Man,
both on the course, smoking
oh,
and talking noise,
oh
okay?
man, all the time, man, all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all have understood in this very short period of time the reason why I value this man not only in what he says but what he embodies. We could go on for hours in this conversation, and I'm going to have him back because I think there's a value in knowing that his toolbox is more like as a Home Depot. It ain't a toolbox. He got the whole dang store, and it's a mega store.
Give
Because no, bro. Because I mean, because the nuggets and the knowledge that just come from it, and it's not hard to figure it out. This is again, it ain't rocket science. This is just something simple, and you got to put one foot in front of the other and just make some things happen. So, my brother TJ Terence Johnson, man, I love you, man. I appreciate you.
Daniel.
And like I always tell y'all, man, y'all too near me not to hear me. We'll be back for another episode.
Okay.
And at this time, y'all take it easy. Peace.